Hello class, my name is Giesy, and I'm doing my famous toxicologist project on John Giesy. So for the agenda, we're going to go over a quick introduction on him, major contributions, PFAS and controversy, COVID wastewater testing, current impacts, then we're going to go over a Q&A session. So introduction, John Giesy was born in Youngstown, Ohio, and for the better part of his early life, he grew up in Michigan. Attended Alma College in Michigan, received his bachelor's of science in biology, and then he went on to receive his graduate degree and doctorate degree in limnology, which is the study of biological, chemical, and physical features of lakes, bodies of fresh water. Chemical, biological, and physical features of lakes, body, and fresh water. He held position as a professor, honorary professor, and an adjunct professor at 20 different universities in Canada, Japan, China, Saudi Arabia, Bulgaria, Germany, Italy, just to name a few. So he was internationally known. He's made over 1,600 presentations, half of them in an international setting. So he did a lot of his living in the United States and Canada. So half of them being like while he wasn't in the Canada or the United States. I looked at his CV. It's pretty long. It was around, I want to say 260, 270 pages. He has a net worth of over 20 million, and his research and grants over his lifetime have been over $250 million US. And no, that is not a made-up figure. It's an actual figure of all his research grants throughout his life. And he recently retired in late 23 or early 24 from the University of Saskatchewan in Canada. So major contributions, he was the Canadian Research Chair of Environmental Technology at Saskatchewan. He was a leading eco-toxicologist. He advanced the study effects of potential toxic compounds and elements. By the early 2000s, he discovered the harmful degree to which PFAS substances were persistent in the environment, specifically aquatic environment, and his advanced degrees that are in limnology. His ongoing research of PFAS, PFOA, in particular, he oversaw the environmental fate and how persistent it was in the environment. So PFAS, as many of you can know, can interfere with hormone function, reduce vaccination effectiveness. As I mentioned, it's consistent in the environment. Exposure routes are ingestion, inhalation, dermal contact. Ingestion, in particular with drinking water, as it's gone over the years, recent studies, and actually the EPA has a health advisory for that. Soon to see whether it's going to be a maximum contaminant limit in the near future. We every day use products that contain PFAS or PFOAs, or it's used in many Teflon products. Also used in pesticides, stain removers, food packaging. Myself, I know it's in the Vibram soles in our military footwear and cold weather gear because it detracts and is stain free from keeping things unwet, basically. With that, though, he had a bit of controversy. So while being an advisor for 3M, in the aftermath of his discoveries in PFAS and PFOA research, he was hired on by 3M because 3M was, as you know, one of the main manufacturers and developers of PFAS and Teflon products. It was eventually given to the DuPont company. But what he did is he kind of advised what 3M should put out, and in doing so, 3M company paid him a large amount So he kind of manipulated the narrative and helped 3M kind of call and proclaim themselves as PFAS-related leaders, and he was kind of protected legally by attorney-client type privileges, because while he was advising them, he told them that what their claim was for the health effects could be detrimental for them. So because he kind of skewed it where it was like a research grant or research type verbiage, he was able to not put the blame on 3M. Although his research was true, his advising was borderline unethical, and even doing so, even with the amount of $1.6 million he was offered by 3M, he did his research and work enough to where he was also doing ethical and non-controversial work, because he had just earned $1 million from Michigan State University for a study the year before on just environmental contaminant health effects in water for unrelated PFAS research. Additionally, while still residing in Canada, he did COVID testing in wastewater. This was done on previous pandemics and endemic diseases in the early 1900s, where researchers were testing the water for where the spread of a viral infection was. So he took 3 samples from 3 Canadian cities in Saskatoon, North Battleford, Prince Albert, and what he did, similar to COVID sampling, was he extracted RNA data from the different variants. He noted commonalities from 3 samples per week, and he curtailed the hotspots to help further guide where testing for COVID can be done. And with this, in his discovery, he was able to help his team of scientists see the viral load 7 to 10 days before the positive cases were reported in the areas. Current issues and impact. So the world as a whole has tried to spent millions trying to get rid of PFAS, PFOA. I would even counter to say it's in the billions, but I wasn't able to research the data. But firsthand, I know that the Department of Defense and the Air Force in itself has spent millions trying to research, monitor, re-engineer, substitute the chemicals out of just drinking water systems in addition to hazardous waste streams. So I know I spent some time overseas in Germany specifically, and what we did is they had a carbon filter in the drinking water system of our water treatment plant, and they use that to try to get rid of or filter out PFAS and PFOA substances. Firefighting foam has also been taken out of systems, in large part because that firefighting foam is known as AFFF, was used to prevent fires from occurring in airframes and aircraft hangars, and that was largely put in our system. But even though that wasn't drinking water related, it was still used for the fire suppression systems. Additionally, I included in here 2 sampling forms. So this is when I actually did coronavirus wastewater testing in my time at Incirlik Air Base. So we had about 1,500 service members that were stationed there at any given time. The tour there lasted about 12 months, but in here we were able to see the samples that we did in my time that I was there. So we began sampling October through March, and I believe October 2020 through March 2021 was the time I was there and sampling. So we used you know, these hotspot areas. So I don't know if you could tell, but the lodging, this is what they were called, like phantom lodging. I know you can't really see this, but Hoja lodging is the other areas that we sampled. So this is where transient members were. And in here, we had just the different ways the water was being tested and the kind of the physical properties of it. And that's how it affected me personally through the studies that the Dr. Giesy did. All right, now questions and answers. So, a question I had is, was his advisement with 3M unethical even if it was illegal? Did his 3M partnership outweigh his positive contributions to science? How did his global reach and influence impact studies of PFAS or COVID wastewater monitoring? Again, recall the languages he spoke in various water crisis and research environments. How has his research affected you personally or piqued your interest? And I'll leave it time for that, and I'll accelerate just so we can go for references. And here's the references I had, and that concludes